It is my honor to introduce our speaker today, our beloved CSS and exceptional director of the coaching program, who has made it more robust than ever. She's the queen of explaining extreme pronunciation, a proud member of the 10-year Stutter-Free Club, and the mother to a beautiful baby girl. She'll be speaking on eliminating residual fear, where true freedom and confidence take hold. Because, as we all know, fear is just a four-letter word. Fear is literally an acronym that stands for feeling excited and ready. So I hope you're feeling just that, because now we will hear from our CSS extraordinaire, Princess Pratyusha.
Thank you so much for that lovely introduction, Danny. So today, like Danny said, I want to talk about, something that every person who stutters deeply understands, and that is fear. So Danny already gave a fantastic, meaning to fear, feeling excited and ready, while I have two other, uh, expansions for the acronym fear. So the first is forget everything and run. And honestly, this is how many of us have lived for years. Like we have avoided situations, we have, held back our speech, we stayed silent, and we let the fear control our choices, right? But there is also another way to look at this. Fear can also mean face everything and rise. And this is exactly what the neuroscience method teaches us. It doesn't teach us to run away from fear, it teaches us to face it, not blindly, but with a system, with tools, and with understanding. And that shift from running away from fear to rising through it is where everything begins to change. So now here's the interesting part. From a neuroscience perspective, fear is not permanent, okay? It's not who you are. Fear is a learned response through years and years of stuttering. And anything that is learned can be unlearned. This is where the neuroscience gives us hope. Modern science tells that brain is not hardwired and it can change at any age with repeated experience. And this concept, known as neuroplasticity, changes everything because it means we are not stuck with the same patterns anymore. So let me further simplify this. Like every time you stutter, you feel fear, and your brain creates a neural pathway, just like a road, right? And the more you travel on that road, the stronger it becomes. And over time, we start associating fear with stuttering, and stuttering reinforces that fear. And this is a vicious loop that becomes automatic. And at some point, you're not even consciously thinking about it anymore. Your brain just reacts. The moment a speaking situation appears, the fear kicks in instantly. And that is why fear feels so real, so powerful, and sometimes even uncontrollable. But here's the important part. Even fluent speakers, I mean the people who do not stutter, also feel fear. They feel nervous before presentations. They feel anxious in high pressure situations. The difference is not the absence of fear. The difference is this. They do not associate fear with stuttering. For them, fear means I might forget what to say or I might not perform well. But for a person who stutters, fear immediately becomes, oh my God, I'm going to stutter. And that one association changes everything. So the real problem is not fear itself, it is the meaning we attach to that fear. And once we start changing the association, we begin to break the loop. In simpler terms, fear is not equal to stuttering. So how are we going to rewire the brain, right? So here's the breakthrough. Neuroscience shows us that if you stop using an old pathway, it weakens. And if you repeatedly use a new pathway, it strengthens, right? So the goal is not to fight fear directly. The goal is to replace the fear pathway with the fluency pathway. Instead of trying to eliminate fear by force, we build something stronger that naturally overrides it. And the step one to do that is creating evidence of fluency. Your brain believes what it hears repeatedly, right? So we focus on reading aloud, speaking using the speech tools in safe environments, or what we call as the stutter-free zones, right? And we also consistently ask every PWS to use the speech plan. When your brain repeatedly hears fluency, it starts forming new associations. Instead of linking speaking with danger, right, it begins to associate speaking with safety and control. So how do we do that? So what do we do exactly under pressure? The first thing is that we talk less. But speaking less is often misunderstood, right, as an inability to speak, or when in reality it's just a choice. There's a big difference between I can speak versus I'm choosing to speak less right now to stay in control. That choice is powerful. In high pressure situations, it's easy to fall off the fluency wagon, to forget the speech plan, and start forcing words out. But forcing words usually does more harm than good. It reinforces the old stuttering habit. It's like ripping off the wound, ripping off the band-aid and not letting the wound heal, right? If you want the wound heal, you need to, don't touch the band-aid, right? So choosing to speak less, on the other hand, is not like avoiding, it's a strategic control. It gives you the space to stay aligned with your speech plan while maintaining your fluency and also protecting the fluency habit that you're trying to build. So the first one is to speak less under pressure, right? And the second one is speaking in short increments, just 2 to 3 words in a sentence. And while speaking in short increments, it's so important that you hold the tone through the words. And the fourth important thing is when you hold the tone, you have to come to a full stop. And when a person does this, they will hear themselves speaking fluently despite fear, despite pressure. As a result, confidence to speak increases. And this is how we start weakening fear at its root. And step 2 is reprogramming the subconscious mind. So what's fascinating in that is only a small portion of our mind is conscious. It's only 5% that's conscious mind, while 95% is subconscious. And subconscious mind is where our belief system resides, right? And this means most of our fear is not logical, it's just automatic. So if we truly want to change the way we speak, we have to influence this deeper layer through mind training techniques like autosuggestions, affirmations, self-hypnosis. Because every single thought we think is shaping our belief system. Every time you think a negative thought, like, I'm gonna stutter, you are reinforcing it, slowly teaching your mind to believe that this is true. And over time, that belief becomes your reality. And that is why it's so important to catch negative thoughts as and when they occur and replace and drown them with positive ones. Like, I love to speak. And when I speak, calm floods my body. Just imagine this. A person stutters, once during a presentation, let's say. If he's going to let it go and focus on the rest of his fluent speech, the impact is going to be minimal, okay? But if he keeps replaying that one incident where he stuttered in his mind, worrying about it over and over, while ignoring all the moments where he was fluent, he is constantly reinforcing negative thoughts. Rather, he's seeing the glass half empty rather than half full. And this mind does not clearly distinguish thoughts and reality. Every time he replays an incident in his mind, he's not just remembering it, he's reliving the experience again and again. In reality, he might have had only one bad incident, but in his mind, he has experienced it 100 times. And that is how fear gets amplified. And that is how the belief system gets stronger. And that is exactly why it is important to interrupt this cycle, to catch the negative thought early and replace it with the positive ones. Because when you change your thoughts, you begin to change your beliefs. And when you change your beliefs, you begin to change your reality. And step 3 is facing fear gradually, just one step at a time, right? So we don't jump directly into the most difficult, situations. Instead, we expand our comfort zone step by step using what we call the fluency ladder. We start with low pressure situations, and from there, we build confidence and then slowly move and gradually expose ourselves into more challenging environments. Each small success sends a powerful message to the brain. I handled this. And with each step, fear loses its grip. And at this stage, something very important happens. Fear does not disappear instantly, but your relationship with the fear changes. You stop seeing fear as something that controls you. And instead, you see it as something you can work through, right? And you realize that fluency is not about absence of fear, but about taking action despite it. And as you continue to act, the fear naturally begins to fade. At the end of the day, battling fear is not about forcing confidence or trying to eliminate fear overnight. It's about retraining the brain step by step. Through neuroplasticity, we understand that fear is simply a conditioned response. And by consistently exposing ourselves to fluency, reinforcing positive thought patterns, and using our speech tools in real situations, we gradually weaken the old fear and stuttering pathways and build new fluency ones rooted in confidence and control. Over time, what once felt threatening begins to feel normal, and what once required effort becomes automatic. And this is how fear dissolves, not by avoiding it, but by systematically rewiring the brain to respond differently. So what do we do when there's a block? The first and foremost thing that you need to do when you experience a block is not forcing words. Though the block is in the mind, if you're not going to force the word out, it's not going to translate into a stutter, right? So the first and foremost thing is to not force words. And then stop talking, take 2 counts, and the easiest way to break a block is by making the sound. So use the 4th crutch and jam it with the feared word, right? I mean, jam the sound with the feared word. Or or you can also, replace the entire word with any other word, because the mind can think only one thing at a time, right? So while you're blocking, your mind is focused only on one specific word. So any other word can break the block. And the fourth thing is, so once you have, tackled this block, you have to go back to your speech plan, which is speaking slow in short increments, just 2 to 3 words in a sentence. And while you say those 2 to 3 words, hold your tone through the words and come to a full stop. And when you're under pressure, the most important thing is to talk less. I would like to share one of my favorite quotes from the movie Coach Carter. And this is on fear. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. You playing small does not serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. It's not just in some of us, it is in everyone. As we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. And I also wanted to share something that Grow from UK shared in the WhatsApp group. It's from a poem called Something in the Woods Loves You. And this is how it goes. I'm still frequently afraid. The difference between my fear now and the fear I held when I was younger is that I no longer feel obligated to act on that fear. Fear is a feeling arising from a thought, sometimes a perception. Yet, it isn't an action. It isn't a mandate. It doesn't get to decide what I do next. I have not conquered fear, but I have found that when I defy it again and again, it is diminished. It demands becomes optional. The fear still comes. It still barks orders. But I no longer reflexively obey. I repeat, I no longer reflexively obey. Thank you so much.
What a phenomenal, wonderful speech as always, Pratyusha. Definitely learned a lot today. And, as Coach Lee rightfully says all the time, there's two wars here, overcoming stuttering and then overcoming fear. And overcoming fear for any PWS is definitely the harder task. But when you ease into your speech comfort zones, when you come to these speech club meetings and the group practice sessions, it's definitely a safe environment for any PWS to ease into their speech comfort zone. So thank you again for a phenomenal talk. Now we do have a lot of hands raised, so let's get right to it. And let's go to your fellow Indian and also a member of the 10-year Stutter Free Club, Ankit.
Hi everyone. Yeah, it's awesome to hear about the fear. You explained a lot about the neuroplasticity and how to face the fearful situations. And really, we work on the subconscious part, because 95% of the brain is of the subconscious thing only. So we need to work on the fearful situations. And you have used the crutches awesomely. So
Thank you,
how was the
Ankit.
fear level before coming to the Coach Lee and now after 10 years? And if you have the fears, how do you tackle them? What are your ASTs at this time? Thank you.
Thank you so much for the comments and to answer your questions, Ankit. So definitely my fear has diminished a lot. You know, looking back 10 years ago, I just picture myself as a scared goat, right? So compared to that versus how I am today, the progress is exponential. And I can say it certainly that the next year and the year after that, maybe 10 years from now, I'll be so much better than how I am today. Be because I strongly believe that there is always room for improvement, right? So I keep improving, I keep, practicing how to effectively communicate, right? So it's always a work in progress for me. And coming to your second question, how I tackle fear, I just don't associate fear with my stuttering anymore. I can feel fear, right? I can be anxious. I cannot tell people to not feel anxious because it's a feeling, but I can choose not to stutter in spite of being anxious, right? So that's something, that choice is something that that every single person here should make because I faithfully, I trust the crutches because I know for a fact that crutches work. When I use it, the crutches actually work. So the only thing that I think of under pressure would be exaggerate the crutch, whichever crutch you're using, be it linkage, be it voice modulation, extreme pronunciation, it doesn't matter. Just exaggerate them. So that's the key. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for the answer. Well explained. Thank you.
Thank you, Ankit.
Danny, could I insert something?
Of course.
It's really a treat to have Prathusha and Ankit here today because, or anytime, because they were among the first handful, literally, handful, five or so, of people who contacted me when I wrote my original book on first of 8 books on stuttering back in 2016. Prathusha and Ankit contacted me and I introduced them to each other and they worked together trying to help me make our message more visible online. I don't know how good a job we did, but we're still here trying, and it's so great that Prathusha and Ankit still take the time to come here. And I just want to welcome them and say thank you so much for doing that.
Thank you,
Absolutely.
Coach Lee.
To you for the program, because my speech is fabulous only because of you.
Hey everyone.
No.
Yeah, exactly. That fear is always came with us, especially when we think we associate with studying. So what we do, in my opinion, we must always thinking solution. That is essential. So we always focus in the crutches, speech plan. That is the best way to removing the fear. So this one takes more time, but we must believe the steps by steps. So I'm not going by once. We have to understand. We must think always the crutch. That is very important. And one thing I know, we are what we think. So when we get negative thought, we must be stopped and reply by the positive thoughts. So never allow the negative thought only just when we think the bad, just stop it and think the good one. That is very important. And my question for you is fear itself came by nature or human made? Thank you.
I think fear is a natural feeling that every living organism in this world experiences it. But all fears are not reality, right? So that's what, you know, like demarcates human being or the human race from the animals. Because animals think fear is real, but we have the ability to, keep the fear a little bit far away and see fear as just thoughts. How we act on that fear is completely in our hands, right? But that's not the same with animals. They think that fear is their reality. So that's my 2 cents.
Wonderful. Another wonderful response. And, real quickly, the anxiety, the fear, the tension, the nerves, it's always going to be there, but it's all going to be about how you channel it. And to steal a quote from the great Thierry Henry, especially regarding pressure, you can feel it, but don't become it. And just like how Jamal just said, always focus more on the solution instead of negatively thinking about the problem itself. All right, with that said, now let's go to mi mejor amigo peruano, Sebastián.
Thank you, Danny. Excellent job hosting, and Pratusha, excellent talk as always. I think just a couple of comments and then a question. My comments here is that, yeah, no, that's exactly right. There's a difference between the physiology, the feelings, the sensations, and the way that our brain think about those feelings. So an example is like the feeling of fear. There's increased a sense of a, a faster heart rate, as an example. Your hands sweat, you actually become a little bit faster. And there's as an example also a shortness of breath. There's a lot of the things that in principle signal, okay, this is a scenario where there's a threat, essentially. So act, either fight, flight, or freeze. But the interesting thing is that those feelings are exactly the same with excitement. Exactly the same thing. So there's a shortness of breath too. Your hands sweat. You are excited. Like there's an excess of emotion in a sense. The only difference is how your brain sees these two events. No fear, you essentially want to get a way of it as soon as possible because it's a source of threat or danger. Excitement, it is the opposite thing. You want it to come as soon as possible. So it's exactly that. Like the brain, it reads these feelings in opposite manners, but the feelings itself are exactly the same. And this is where exactly, the incredible power of mind training comes into play. Because of course, it's really tough to say, don't be afraid, don't be afraid, don't be afraid, because the feeling, it is still there. You know, the the work here, it's not to avoid that feeling or ignore it. It's feel those feelings, but give them a different meaning. I'm excited for this. I love to speak. I'm gonna do it. Wow, like I can't wait to talk in front of others. I think that the shifting framing is essential. No, so as a question, because we of course are all humans and have a lot of emotions all day. There's fear of work, of a lot of things. How do you deal now with situations where emotions are high? Be it fear, excitement. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Sebastian. I totally agree with the excitement aspect that you said, right? The moment you think that you're excited to speak, that kind of gives you a different vibe, right? And suddenly you feel more confident to speak. So that's amazing. And how do I deal with fear now? Just get into passion, being passionate, right? For example, if I have to shout at my husband, I just go, "Why do you do this all the time?" Something like that. So to just go extreme, and when you do that, you actually feel more powerful in a way. You feel more dramatic. Girls are okay with that. I'm not sure how boys feels about drama, but for girls, it's completely okay. Yeah, so just get into that emotion. Just feel the emotion to the fullest, and everything will be sorted, right? Yeah. So that's how I approach.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
And also one single point that I wanted to talk about earlier was pressure is privilege, guys. If we are feeling the pressure, it means that we are doing something outside our comfort zone, right? Which means we are growing. So pressure is privilege, okay?
Absolutely. And at the end of the day, pressure creates diamonds, and that's exactly what you are. Because one, again, your talk was fantastic, but your responses are absolutely top notch. All right.
Danny,
Speaking of,
Danny,
yes,
Danny,
sir.
inject one thing. You
Yes.
know, as most of you know, I've talked to hundreds of stutterers over the years, and most come and go. Happily, most of them, when they go, no longer stutter. Um, Prathusha's a rare case who stuck around, and I want to say something she didn't mention today, but that I recall from my earlier conversations with her 10 years ago. And that is, as I recall, that she began stuttering when her father died. And she was a teenager, young teenager, and the battle with stuttering commenced. And when she came to us, I think she was around 16. I don't remember exactly. And she beat it to death, and she beat it fast, and she's never relapsed. And it's a wonderful story. As for your husband, I don't know how he can say no to you. He's a stronger man than I will ever be. Danny, back.
I love it. You're quite the comedian, Lee. All right, with that said, let's go to the uncrowned champion of season 10 of The Voice of Germany.
I am. I'm just guessing that's me.
Of course.
You are,
Okay,
Noah.
thank you, Danny. Yeah. First of all, Patricia, such a great job. It was very comprehensive, and I felt you struck a great balance between foundational things of the neuroscience method and then adding things that dive a little deeper into the specific topic of fear. I thought it was very well structured and I love the quotes. It was like a perfect little thing. Very
Thank
great.
you.
I don't have a question, but I want to add my thoughts as well on the topic of fear because I think it's a pretty important one. Um, in my experience, it has been quite interesting um, because the fear is, of course, tied so heavily to stuttering and the fact that it's this uncontrollable thing, right? This kind of inner adversary that just pops up randomly and you never know when he's gonna strike. So at least part of you is always on edge. At least was like for me. I didn't always feel it. There's this underlying threat there, right? And when my brain realized um, that, hey, it's not like I am helpless in this interaction between me and this adversary, um, that I'm actually in control, right? If I take control, that fear vanishes, right? Because there is no reason for the fear to be there if you're the one who would have to commit to stuttering, it's in your control, right? And the truth, of course, is that there is no inner adversary. It's us. The inner adversary is also just us. There is no demon, no Satan stuttering. We cannot push the responsibility away. It's all us, right? And I just think that is it was a very important learning for me. And when my brain realized that, a lot of the fear just vanished, which is really cool. In some situations, it might reappear slightly and say hello, and I just wave it goodbye. Listen, I say,
Great.
okay, look, bye. Yeah, you have, I have like evicted you from this living situation. You're not my roommate anymore. Take care. I can't say I wish you well, but yeah, that's it. I'll stop it here.
Fantastic approach, Noah. I think, fear is just, thoughts, right? It's how we feel. If you can just push it away for a second and just focus on your speech plan, and the moment your mind or, it recognizes your fluency from your own lips, and the fear just fades away. That's the reality. Great, Noah. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. And real quickly, Noah, if your music career doesn't work out, you always have a gig as a stand-up comedian, because that was brilliant.
Hell yeah.
First of all, Danny, I think you're doing a fantastic job as a host. I love that you littered in there some Spanish numbers. That was a nice twist. And Prathusha, wow, I loved your speech. I really relate a lot to this topic, as I'm sure we all do. But I felt like your speech, it was inspiring. I love that you included a poem in there and some quotes. And as Noah mentioned, it was very comprehensive. I do feel like there is both a physiologic as well as a mental component. Um, I I struggled with fear for 10 years. And I not just I didn't just associate fear with stuttering, I associated fear with speaking. And so every single time I had to speak, whether it was to introduce myself or, anything, I absolutely feared, which of course led to the forcing and the hesitating and the blocking and all of that. But um, I love how you explained in detail the concepts that really make this program work. I am a testament, as well as all of you guys, that by understanding and applying all those concepts you described, you can absolutely 100% experience a change in your life and completely transform your speech. I have no doubt about it. And I mean, I wasn't, I was a horrible stutterer. Or as recent as February. Okay, so it's not even like I have been, fluent for years. And even though I am not technically yet considered a PWSS because I haven't achieved a full 30 days of no bad incidents, I will say I have achieved maybe 5 days of no bad incidents, and and I know I'm not going back. I know I'm not going backwards. because now I have all the tools that I need under my belt to be a fluent speaker for the rest of my life. And I really do want to thank you, Prathusha, for your support, and Danny and Noah and Coach Lee for this program. I mean, my life is I I am just like, oh my gosh, shocked and just so happy to finally be free because I finally, oh man, for the first time in my life, I feel free of this, and it is all thanks to you guys. So um, um, I will end my statement here. Thank you again.
Raquel, we love having you. We love hearing you talk. Um, Look, you will get all these past feelings of fear and problems with speech will go away 100%, but it will take time. And the time is dependent upon how long you've stuttered, how you've stuttered, and how severely. So it'll vary for you and me and Prathusha and Sebastian, and everybody's going to have a different timeline. But I promise you this, if you stop having bad incidents, which you can and I believe will do, it's just a question of when, not if, until you are 100% fluent. Danny?
Amen to that. And Raquel, stop trying to take all the thunder away from Princess Pratusha. But yes, we absolutely love your comments. So muchísimas gracias, mi amiga españolita. Un poquito español para ti. And that's all the
Oh my
Spanish that I have.
God, Danny,
That
you
is all.
speak so fluent
No, that is
Spanish. I
all.
mean,
That is all the Spanish that I have in my locker. So we're just going to swiftly move on to my super smart Stanford friend, Bob.
Thank you. This has been among my favorite meetings of this year. It's so nice, firstly, to see the earliest few students that Lee had at this point a full decade ago. I think that's evidence of the immense impact he's had on so many people's lives, and I'm so grateful to be counted among those whose life has been completely changed by his work. I also have noticed in the years since I started this program that my entire approach to solving problems has also been immensely improved by trying to solve this speech specific problem. And that's what I'm hoping to learn more about from our speaker here. I feel that I spent years not understanding what was happening with me, why I would try and apply certain tools or crutches in speaking situations. It would work under low pressure, and then I would go into higher pressure, and it would seem like, despite my best efforts, I wasn't having the same success. And it took a few years of very concerted effort until I was able to do so. And along the way, I was always thinking around the margins of where am I going wrong? What did I miss in the moment that I was about to apply the crutch? And so, Prathusha, I would love to ask you, has this sort of same problem solving approach manifested or trickled into other aspects of your life? And how do you now approach diagnosing and solving problems?
absolutely. That's a fantastic question, Bob. Definitely, this program has not only helped me stop stuttering, but it has elevated my life, the whole life, right? How I approach things, how I, deal with problems. Definitely, because stopping stuttering is equal to finding success in any area in your life. Because few years back, many years back, if someone had asked me, if you had not stuttered in your life, what would you have become? I would have said the Prime Minister of India. Because the only thing that was stopping me from achieving any goal was stuttering, right? So now that I've stopped stuttering, I have the freedom to chase my dreams, literally. I have, I feel that anything is possible. I'm completely invincible now. I can do anything. So this process, of where we, reach the stop stuttering stage, this hard process, I wouldn't say it's easy. It takes a lot of effort. It taught me one thing, to be really disciplined, right? We have to be, uh, you know, like every single day you need to do, no matter what, even if you're feeling low or happy, you need to do the 1, 2, 3 punch. So it helps you focused. It makes you stay disciplined in what you're doing. So yeah, so that's what. So basically now how I approach fear or pressure is that just get into the passion and talk slow, use voice modulation, and singing is the easiest way to deal with any pressure for me, at least. Whenever I feel pressure, just go along a tune, and I feel more confident that way.
Wonderful.
Great. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Danny, one sentence.
Go ahead.
Other problems being solved by this program. The secret is mind training daily, twice a day, 20 minutes, once before bed, once on arising, during which time you at least repeat your 10 affirmations 20 times each. That's the minimum that you do for mind training. You can use levels of self-hypnosis. I've described that in my books. But mind training, mind control, dictating your thoughts, that's the secret. I'm still struggling to do it. I'll do it to my last breath, but I'm trying. And I'm urging all of you to try to dictate your thinking 24/7 and use daily mind training at least twice a day. And during the day, when you get negative thoughts, don't accept them. Drown them in a flood of contrary positive affirmations. Danny.
Absolutely.
Exceptional stuff, Lee, as always. All right, now let's go to Miguel.
Hello, Dan. Hello, everyone. I really like your level of charisma and your very spontaneous short article comments, Danny. Thank you. And to Arthusha, I really like how you summarize something or just here and say that Ivan Lee, in his short course book, it took him about, I think, a few tens of pages to go over it, and you did so in like 20-ish minutes. So congratulations. And one thing that really resonated with me was when you spoke about taking action, because I had similar insights, however, related to anxiety. And I think that anxiety and fear are like siblings. There's really similar feeling, emotion, and they're all about feeling nervous, feeling powerless about suffering. You feel that you will suffer and that you are stuck in life and that you can do nothing about it. By taking action, this powerless feeling vanishes. And it was really good to hear that also about fear. And considering, here's my proper question, considering your current level of knowledge, if you could back 10 times ago in time, uh, just after you you stop appearing speech disabled and you were trying to kill the fear and to learn to love to speak. Which mistake would you not make? Which thing you can see right now that you did wrong that if you could travel back in time, you would have changed to kill the fear ultimately? Thank you.
Okay. That's a very good question, Miguel. One thing that I would never do is forcing the words. Because when you force the word, you are literally stuttering, right? Though you have a block in your mind, if you're not going to force the word and if you're going to resist the time pressure and refuse to force the word, you're not stuttering. And stuttering dies by disuse. That's the number one. And how are we going to, get confident with fluency? By using the speech tools. But number one rule is not forcing words. Yeah, so that's something that I would, never do. Even if I have fear, even if I plan a word occasionally here or there in my mind, I'm not going to force the word. Instead, I'm going to use a crutch on that word or maybe skip the word. And when I skip the word, the important thing is this: I don't feel like a failure. I feel powerful because I have the choice to choose another word, right? But that's the most important thing, because many people feel that when you skip a word, it feels like avoidance. Then it means that they're incapable of saying that word. But please don't see that way, because if you're going to go ahead and say the word, you're going to force it and you're going to have a bad incident. So rather, I would use a different word or use a crutch on that word and still be fluent.
Absolutely. Well said. And the beauty about these crutches, we only need them for a temporary amount of time. And then once we build the fluency habit, we will no longer need any of these crutches. So thank you,
Absolutely.
Miguel, for a wonderful question. And Pratyusha, of course, you're killing it with all the responses. All right, now let's go to my buddy, Lieutenant Rawlings from Louisiana.
All right. Thank you so much, Danny.
Sir.
This is an amazing SAM meeting today. It's really inspiring talking about fear, because it's a question that I've been saying in my head. Like, my first question to Miss Patricia here is, before I ask this question, I wanted to say you did a really fantastic job.
Yes.
Speech that you prepared. You didn't just come out here and try to say something. You prepared. So that is the first goal to be successful in anything, is you want to be prepared 100% and try your best, which you have done here today. So my first question will be, I still have fear when I go into a situation that I've not been in before to speak, because 70% of my job is dealing with people with authority. So once I get that feeling, it's like, man, another voice inside my head keeps saying, I mean, if we come to worse, you use a cross, you use something, unlike before where I just go in and saying, okay, let me just try my best and try to force my way through, speak fast. So now I'm thinking the mindset of trying my best, speak slower. If I feel stressed out, I can use a cross. Does that mean that the fear is dead, dying, or gone? If you have to think that way.
Yes, of course. So the brain believes the actions, right? Though there is fear, if you are going to talk slow, using stops in short increments, just the way I'm speaking right now, since the brain believes actions, and your action right now is fluency, and hence the fear slowly fades away. The fear has no meaning, right? So it fades away.
Well said. Well said.
Danny,
Yeah.
one quick one.
Yep.
PR Prathusha was asked what one thing, and she gave a great answer. She said, "Don't force a word," and that's right. If you then ask, "But how can I do that?" One way to avoid it is to become possessed by your message, possessed, and speak it in a way that is over the top for you. Come out of your shell. Be an extreme example of yourself. Some of you may have to be very, very extreme to make it work. Do it, because eventually you won't need to do it.
Absolutely. And speaking of being an extreme example of themselves, let's go to our most charismatic CSS, Steve.
Thank you, Danny. And I must say that you are doing a fantastic job hosting the meeting. You got those mic skills going. You sound great. I just want to say that it's always a pleasure listening to Prathusha talk. She's always very insightful. She's incredibly intelligent. Yeah, her speech on fear, I mean, she covered the topic like a really warm blanket during the winter, you know. She covered it very well. And
Thank you.
yeah, 10 years, 10 years, 10 years of fluency. That's incredible. Like, I think I'm not alone when I say what I'm about to say, but like if I had to choose like one person that personifies the program, I would say it's you. Like if WSSA had a logo, you would be like the little person on the logo, like you know, like the logo for like the I don't know, the National Basketball Association, you know, the little guy with the ball, he's dribbling like that, you know, like that would be you. You know what I'm saying? And
Means a lot, Steve.
and yeah, you know, just want to say that, you know, we all love you. That's all.
Thank you so much, Steve. Thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely. Also, real quick, Dean, if we ever decide to redesign the Stop Stutter logo, we should definitely put Pratyusha's face.
Well, that's a
Dan-
gift. We all know that.
Right.
Danny, we got to go to Ambassador Siebert pretty quick here.
Yes, okay. So let's just go to Vishwanath and then I'll go to Ambassador Siebert. So let's start slow and get into the flow, my friend.
Hey, thank you, Danny. And Pratyusha and Danny, you both guys are awesome. You are the best coaches, and I have a lot of respect for both of you. I have personally seen both of you really putting your all out efforts. Now, quickly, fear is a real subject. Antidote to fear is love. Bring love. And you ask me about fear. I host very big meetings, 40 people in room, 40 people in Zoom, big hall, big table you have seen, right? Where, where people are sitting on both sides of the table. So preparation is the key. Prepare. I prepare like hell. Important meetings, all VPs are there. I prepare. I know I have all the tools. I go 15 minutes before the start of the meeting, occupy that corner spot where I can point to the screen. All that helps me in my speech. So, you bring all this preparation and fear goes away. Look into the eyes of fear, fear will melt away. Thank you.
Amen.
Absolutely. Fantastic wish.
Wonderful response. The only thing really that I didn't like about your response is you did not start slow. You just went fast, and that's obviously not in your nature.
Because of the time.
Exactly, exactly. All right. Before I throw it back to Coach Lee for his final words, we would be remiss if we didn't hear from our resident PWNS, a person who has never stuttered. Ambassador Steve, any final comments or thoughts?
Thank you so much, Danny, and thank you for moderating this brilliantly as usual. Prathusha, what can I say about you? From the beginning to the end of your presentation and your responses, Prathusha, you attacked fear. And the neuroscience method is the antidote to fear. No one exemplifies that more than your journey of 10 years. It's extraordinary. Fear is not permanent, it is learned. That's what you have gone through. And that's what everyone who follows on their journeys behind is that that fear is not permanent, that you don't force words, that you can feel the fear, but do not become it. That's a brilliant observation. That really is extraordinary. I also love the fact that you came late in your direct presentation with the phrase "pressure is a privilege, embrace it." I think that's from Billie Jean King, the tennis player. I think that was hers, but you've adopted it. It's wonderful. Also, being a member of the 10-year Fluency Club with Ankit, I can only say that Raquel, who came in the side here, I did not know her journey, at least the extent of it, and that she is really from February, she's broken through. I thought she did a beautiful job while shopping for eggs today. It's she knows how to multitask quite well, Raquel. And although Steve, you are always our marketing guy, and I applaud your view that you want to put Prathusha in as the NBA logo. But I'm the political guy, and she said had she never stuttered, she would have run to become Prime Minister of India. And I want to inform her, Prathusha, that you're a young lady, that Prime Minister Modi is in his mid-70s. You got to be 40 years younger than him, so there's plenty of room for you to run. And those of us who are political would completely support you in that endeavor. Thanks a million for all you do for this organization, Prathusha. Love you.
Thank you so much, Tom. Thank you so much. It means a lot.
Wonderful comments. I love it. All right, now let's go to the man, the myth, the legend himself, Sir Lee G. Lovett.
Thank you, Danny, for a wonderful job as host. Really outstanding. Prathusha already extolled your virtues to the hilltop. I can't say any more about you. Today, before we close, I would like to talk about one of the greatest songs ever written. It's very short. It's called Climb Every Mountain. It was made popular in the 1960s in a musical on Broadway and in a film called Sound of Music. And this song, Climb Every Mountain, urges us to face the obstacles that confront us and to climb every mountain, in quotes. And it also says to ford every stream. In that case, the word ford means cross water where needed. All of you owe it to yourselves to listen to this wonderful song, which I hope maybe Danny will put in the chat a link to it, or you can simply find it online in Google. The very brief words of Climb Every Mountain from Sound of Music are these: climb every mountain, search high and low, follow every byway, every path you know, climb every mountain and ford every stream, follow every rainbow till you find your dream. A dream that will need all the love you can give, every day of your life for as long as you live. Climb every mountain, ford every stream, follow every rainbow till you find your dream. A dream that you will need all the love you can give every day of your life for as long as you live. Climb every mountain, ford every stream, follow every rainbow till you find your dream. So, it's up to you, to me, to all of us, to climb the mountains that we face. In most cases, we can do it. We can do it enough to accomplish our reasonable goals. The problem is not life. The problem is not life's obstacles. The problem is between our ears. And we can conquer most of the reasonable obstacles that life presents to us. So let's do it. Danny.
Beautiful words, stand by Lee. Always grateful. And on that happy note, it's time to close our meeting. I hope that you enjoyed exchanging thoughts with ex-stutterers and those fast becoming ex-stutterers. And now I will close with our motto. Feel free to say it along with me. If you can say one word anywhere, anytime, you can say and love to say any word, anywhere, anytime. Until next Saturday, have a great weekend, my friends. Take care.
Have a great weekend,
Bye,
guys.
everyone.
Bye bye.
Happy weekend.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks all.